Because in old DC, we find a way.
They do it again! We'll see you in Detroit!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for all of our subscribers, Burgundy Ballers, welcome back to the divisional round of previews and predictions episode here on the Ballin In Burgundy podcast. Myself and Andrew, and we got the former Washington wide receiver, number 13, one half of the Believe in Commanders podcast, the one and only Mr. Anthony Armstrong 13. What's going on?
What is happening, man? How y'all doing? Thanks for having me back. Y'all got me up past my bedtime, but when you're talking playoffs and you're talking Commanders, you stay up a little bit later.
Come on now. We were talking about this. We were talking about this before the stream.
Yeah, this is
January
exciting
football.
times, y'all. Yeah, January football, and the spread is 9.5, and so that would say that you're probably not going to be playing next week. But I don't believe that. I feel like this team doesn't give a damn about a spread. They don't care. Anybody, anytime, any place, and any spread apparently too. So. This is gonna be a big matchup, man. Probably the biggest game that y'all have seen in your young careers and
Absolutely.
fandom. But I mean, this is a big game, and I mean, you're playing with house money right now, so can't really complain.
I mean, we've been playing with house money since really the bye week, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, after the bye week, you actually had to work your way into something because, like, after those 3 losses, old iterations of this team would have just stumbled and fumbled their way to the end, and we would have still patted them on the back and say, "Good job, guys! 9 wins. That was an improvement. Like, you almost got into the playoffs." Because coming into the season, I thought it was going to be win the division is the main goal, or you sneak your way into the playoffs in that 7th seed. And I was like, maybe you chasing 10 wins. And you know, shoot. They said, forget that, man. We turned it up. We're going 12, 13 wins now.
We're going 12 here. We're going to have like a 6-game winning streak early in the season and 4-game winning streak at the end of the season. And
I mean, it's the longest winning streak going into the playoffs by any team. The second, they had 5-game winning streak going into the playoffs. The Ravens had a 4-game winning streak, and they were one of the few teams that had a Week 14 bye headed into the playoffs. So I think that comes into play as well.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
Great.
That's cool.
It's crazy. My whole timeline, my Google Photos and whatnot filled with Commanders content. I'm like, I gotta organize some of this because this is like a gig and a half of just stats.
Yeah, do something with it. You're like, why did I screenshot that? I meant to share it, but like, okay, well, yeah.
But man. Guys, before we get really into this, don't forget to like and subscribe here on BIB. Road to 500 subscribers keeps going. We're at about 438. Another about 60 away.
I want to get there.
Man, we've been trying to get there since like December, but Christmas did not come gratefully.
We'll make that happen.
Man,
we'll make that happen.
Instagram, TikTok at Ballin In Burgundy Podcast, Twitter at BIB Podcast 22. Go follow Believe in Commanders. Instagram, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. TikTok
in my
links
ass
down.
off.
Hey, if it's not banned, if it ain't banned by now,
I ain't tripping, man.
Someday.
I ain't worried about that.
I ain't too worried. But also, if you're living in the Texas area and you need a good realtor, contact AA13. Links on in the description to his website. Go give him. If you need a house, hit your man up because he got you.
I got you, man. 7-time 5-star award-winning real estate agent right here, folks. 7-time. Feel like Ric Flair. Woo! Look like money. Woo!
Woo!
Take care of my people. Like, that's the thing.
Come on now.
Take care of my people. Let's do this thing, man. Look, this is football. Divisional playoffs got you feeling good. Got me feeling good.
Man, I never thought I'd see the day. Because, Andrew been saying it since like week 15. We had us about 8-9, 9-8, doing some things. We were, 9 wins is an improvement from the whole round of era. So we were already looking forward to good times. 12-5. 6 seed. Beat Tampa again on the road. Granted, you play Detroit in Detroit as the 1 seed. But if y'all had told me this in last December, last March, last June, in October, I would have said, I didn't realize Madden released so early this year. I didn't realize EA made a good game.
Yeah, that would have just even if you were just joking, like you wouldn't have said it. You know what I mean? And it's no disrespect. It's just one of those things where you just like, especially when you looked at the roster, you look not necessarily the roster, but you looked at the schedule. You're like, man, you gotta play these teams. It's like, that could be kind
I
of
think we
tough.
had like a top 15 schedule.
Yeah, it was a tough schedule.
Yeah.
So, just I mean, everybody's talked about it. The way this thing is turned around so quickly, having the success from just rookies and draft picks, and just they've been able to hit on so many spots in 1 year. And then I think one of the things that's very that's slightly overlooked is that in the areas that they came into the season lacking, it has not like shot them in the foot. It hasn't been a detriment, right? We circled offensive line, like that was a thing. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do,
especially a tackle.
Yeah, tackle, right? And then you had the 2 tackle system that was going, but then week in and week out, they weren't giving up sacks. And I think you have to give credit to Cliff Kingsbury. You got to give credit to Jaden Daniels. They do a great job of getting the ball out of the hands quickly. And it negates whatever the pass rush is, right? It slows that down. So, they found a way to make their weaknesses not necessarily get past them, but just find ways to support them and make them not be their Achilles heel.
That's a really good point, because I mean, coming into the season, we had a number of positions that I and John and everyone else was genuinely pretty concerned about. But I mean, we still have a lot of holes to fill, but each of these positions that we've been worried about, they've sort of held their own. They've been manageable. They've given Jaden a chance to go out there and play to the best of their ability and win. So, I mean, they've sort of held their ground, and we still have stuff to correct, obviously, but it's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great point, because I remember the Instagram, the reel, the TikTok, whatever you guys want to call it, you can go watch it above Andrew's head. And I said this around, what did I say this on, Andrew? Probably week 10, week 12, is we have draft needs. Edge rusher, defensive end. Let's call it what it is. Defensive end, cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver. Could be running back, depending on. I think B-Rob comes back. I think the group likes him. He's not. I would give him probably a top 15 running back in this league, top 12 running back. But granted, when you're Josh Jacobs, your Derrick Henry, your Saquon Barkley were free agents, and they did what they did this year, they helped that running back room, the running back position tremendously, and it's a great. I think running back is probably the strongest group, if not edge rusher, in this whole draft. But we do this with Terry McLaurin as your number 1, and there was really no number 2 all season. Zach Ertz as your wide receiver by committee. Ertz as your really your second biggest weapon, because Sinnett's been in and out, and Bates is your blocker. B-Rob running back by committee. Eckler, McNichols, Rodriguez, and Robinson.
Game.
And the screen game.
And that quick screen game. So, I mean, you're making great points, John. It is that fact that they're finding ways to be successful based on what they have, right? And I think that that goes back to Dan Quinn, right? Dan Quinn is big about finding out, what are you good at? Like, let's make you do those things. Let's find a way to do those things. And instead of, like, you can't treat this like mad. And then this is one thing about the wide receiver 2 thing. We can't fall in love with that, because you look at teams and you think, oh, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right? That's receiver 1 and receiver 2. That's not common on every single team. Some teams, just like what you're seeing here in Washington, is you have one big dog, and then you got a whole bunch of pups that are behind them, and there's going to be some tight ends, there's going to be some running backs. But when you look at the stats week in and week out, Jaden is hitting 7, 8 different receivers, or I should say pass catchers, right? 7 different people are catching passes, right? So you're not just feeding the ball 10, 12 targets to Terry and then another 7 or 8 targets to one other guy, and then you sprinkle it. No, everybody can eat, right? Everybody can eat. And when you have a leader like Terry, and his personality, where he's humble enough to be like, hey, everybody's gonna eat, I'm gonna do my job.
Yeah, I'm
gonna take 2. Like, if that's what I do, I'm taking 2. I got a safety in a corner. That means you got man to man. He wants you to go do your job and win. they're finding the mix now. I love seeing Dyami Brown being that receiver that's finally making his way onto the scene and making some plays. So we'll watch out for him on that fast track in Detroit coming up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I found that really interesting. The last week he was our leading receiver, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Terry was 7 for 89, but they consider receptions to be your leading cause, so it's Diami.
Yeah,
I remember coming into this season, not just ourselves included. I'm not going to just single us, but a bunch of other people, some of our sponsors, I think even some pundits were like, "Is Diami going to make it through training camp? Is he going to make it through trade deadline? Is he going to make it through the rest of the season?" Because he was sprinkled in here and there. You'd see him pop up for a few good catches. You'd see him pop up for a few good screens. But then Noah Brown would be in there. Yeah. You'd have Luke make a catch or two a game, which I really I still enjoy the pick, but I think it's because now it's a receiver room by committee. It makes sense to have the depth.
Yeah. Luke's got to learn the position, I think, a little bit more. I think he's only been a few years at receiver, period, and then to go to the league and have to do it, and then have to do it in a way where like Jaden needs to trust who he's throwing the ball to, right? If that connection's not there, this ain't a year to experiment, right? And I think you could see that whenever they decided to bring Jamison Crowder in and they're bringing him back up, they were like, all right, cool, we got to get out here because we need somebody we can trust here. Right. And in that slot position. And then you talk about Noah brings that physical trait to the receiver room that you don't have. Right. Dyami is the only guy that's the speed guy, right? This the straight up heat down the field. And he's really good at those quick screens on the outside. So everybody has their one role that they can do, but now that he's Dyami being the one I'm speaking on, now that he's putting these other intermediate routes into his game, man, it can be really exciting, especially knowing that he's going to get one-on-one coverage. He's going to get one-on-one over there away from Terry, if it's Terrion Arnold or if it's the young fella Robertson. Right, you're going to get you're going to get a chance over there. And you need to make these plays because you only get so many haymakers in these football games.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he's finally sort of stepping up and throwing his name in the game because we've seen some good stuff from him. Last week, like you said, that was probably his best week he's had. And I think next week we could see even more of him. He's going to want to show out against Amon-Ra. There's a little bit of controversy there between them. So he is something to prove, and I feel like he's going to make it happen.
Yeah, this is a statistic for Dyami. He caught all 3 targets over 10 air yards for 61 yards and a touchdown in the wild card win over the Bucks, his most such yards in a game since week 5 of 2022.
That was the Tennessee game.
Yeah, there you go. It was the Tennessee game. So yes, you hit it on the head. I love seeing that happen, right? And with offenses, man, you gotta, especially with this offense, with like I said, trust based. You have to just show it on practice. You have to show that you're gonna make these plays and you're gonna be there and you're gonna be reliable. And damn it, I'm glad he's doing it, man. Yeah. Keep making plays, Dyami. Keep making plays, my man.
Come on,
building that trust.
Yeah. But what I don't want to say don't trust is this Lions team, considering the amount of injuries they have had, 19 guys on IR, 3 guys out currently. They're going to be without Kevin Zeitler, their starting right guard today. Yeah. They still went for 15-2.
Yeah.
1 seed. No Aiden Hutcherson. No Carlton Davis. No Ennis Rakestraw Jr., their second corner they drafted last season.
Yeah.
And they're still a top defensive unit. That Dan Quinn and Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, for all the coaching rumors they're gonna have and all the press conferences about biting kneecaps their first 2 seasons,
it's coming to fruition, ain't it?
It's coming. They might be the best coached roster in the league.
I mean, they're really operating at a high level. That they execute. They execute. And I can say this much, man. You got to pay respect to a team like this. This isn't one of those weeks where you walk in and you're like, nah, they're not real. This is fake. This is bruh. They are out there putting up points, and they will do it to you too if you F around and find out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
F around and find out. Come out here and don't be prepared, and they will have 50 on your head real quick. Like
Yeah.
so, man, yeah, they're a dangerous team offensively. You know who they got? Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams is that Ferrari who's going to
Yep.
take the top off, and
Mhm.
just talking with Glover Quinn Jr., he was talking about how Jahmyr Gibbs, he feels like that's the guy who makes this offense go because he's so explosive from the
Yeah.
backfield, 5.9 yards to carry inside the tackle. So we've seen the recent issues against the run for Washington, but coming in this matchup, I think you got to try to shut down Jahmyr Gibbs. You got to pick what you're going to do, the offense, the receivers are going to move around too much that you can't really lock down on one guy and say, "Hey, Marshawn, you go cover this person." I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. So yeah, you got to find a way to slow down the running game and make them one dimensional.
Yeah.
Turn the ball over if you can, and play ahead of the sticks, if you will.
Yeah. And they got
They
Scott
also
Montgomery back
just,
too.
yeah,
Say
I was just
again?
about to say, yeah.
That they just got David Montgomery back. So they've got their one
Yeah,
two one two punch back, which might be the best 1-2 running back punch in the league. Because Saquon's a man amongst boys.
yeah,
Derrick Henry is the king for a reason. And then it's probably them. As I said, one Sonic and Knuckles,
yeah.
they call
Yeah.
that for a reason.
Yeah,
This was
there's
the
not
one.
really, there's no other duo out there that
No.
you're gonna look at. I mean, they're both, like I said, they're both dangerous. I mean,
Yeah.
it ain't, you ain't even trying to stroke their ego, man. Those
Mm-mm.
them suckers are very dangerous. But the one thing that I think about, and in history, it rhymes, it kind of repeats itself a little bit.
Yeah.
I go way back to um undefeated Patriots, right? This team looked unstoppable,
Mhm.
just touchdowns left and right. They get into the playoffs and they rock and roll up in there, but they go against this Giants team who is barely sneaking in the playoff. I
Yeah.
think they were a 6A seed. They were on the road, and they end up beating them in the Super Bowl. So I want to know how are they going to handle the adversity like inside of a game. They've lost two games. One of them was low scoring. One of them was high scoring.
Boring.
Um, but I mean, Washington's been through everything. They've been through the ringer. They've won off Hail Marys. They've won when they've had 5 turnovers. They've shut down Saquon Barkley in the second. Like they've done whatever you needed them to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like with that resume, like you can look back and say, man, look at all these scars and war wounds I've had. We've been through everything. I ain't worried about a lion. You know what I mean? And then I feel like for the Lions, as good as you've been, I think you gotta come in here and be cautious about the Commanders a little bit.
Mhm.
You have
Yeah.
to be like,
Mhm.
man, I don't know. They got that
Because
kid they got 5 back there, and anything can happen.
Lions have expectations.
Yeah.
We've been playing with house money.
Yeah, we ain't. I mean, look, we ain't supposed to be here. It feels like you done snuck in the club. Like you might as well enjoy yourself, right? Like make the most of it. Don't rest on your laurels. And that's not the team that's gonna do. Hey guys, it's been a fun ride. Let's enjoy this next
Appreciate
60
y'all.
minutes. No, man, these suckers are trying to win.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you don't hop on that plane and slide up to Detroit in January just because. No, it's not for sightseeing. Tell you
Mm-mm.
that it's not for
It's gonna be a lot of
sightseeing right
snow.
now. It's up there for a business trip, right? And then your job is to come home with a dub, all
Hmm.
right, and a lion skin blanket. That's what you're trying to come home
Mm.
with.
Surprisingly enough, not a lot of people are counting us out of this. And I mean, yeah, it's like Anthony was saying, it's a big line, 9.5. Lions have a lot of talent in that roster, but they shouldn't count us out. I mean, if this is a very high scoring and consistently offensive game, that's going to be our main shot at actually staying in it. If it's a low scoring game, I don't think we're going to win this. We need Jaden to do what he did last week. We need to have little to no punts, little to no turnovers. We just need to be going back and forth with them. And if we can do that, make it a close game, you know what Jaden can do in
Yeah.
those one score situations. So
Especially in the
I
fourth
think,
quarter.
yeah, I mean, we have more than a shot than some people realize. So
Yeah. What was the stat? Like he has 12 fourth quarter overtime touchdowns
Something
inside
like
2 minutes
that.
this season. I think it'd drop another one. Um, I think that was from week 18. Oh no, that was Marcus. Not what quarterback does that? Not just a rookie. What quarterback has 12 fourth quarter inside 2-minute touchdowns?
It's Jaden.
Not any, not many at all.
No.
This was a cool stat I saw for Jaden. It says among all rookie quarterbacks since 2016, JD5 ranks first in completions, passing yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, and passer rating against the blitz. All right. So with that cool little factoid, and then you combine the fact that the Lions have been playing a lot of man coverage as of late.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They've been playing a lot of zero and getting in the face of players now, is that going to create some pressure? And Jaden's been able to handle that. So that's a matchup I'm looking forward to, because he handled what Todd Bowles gave him.
Yeah.
Right. Veteran DC former player in the league, longtime head coach. Now you got Aaron Glenn, and frankly, his performance this year is going to get him a head coaching job this year.
Yeah.
He should not be passed over on. That would be his decision if he wants to not go. And outside of that, he's probably looking to have a signature W. Right? He's probably looking to have a signature W.
Yeah. I'm gonna start one more stat. We'll start to wrap things up. Because I saw this on, I think it was NBC or ABC. So Washington in the playoffs against Detroit, 3-0. The last time was that 1999 wild card round. Detroit, however, has won 6 of the last 7 games against Washington, dating back since the 2009 regular season. This would be our first NFC championship game since 91. They're looking to go back-to-back NFC conference games in their whole history. So whoever wins this game makes more history. It's big for both teams.
Yeah.
Washington would go for the first time in our lifetimes, which is I'm sure I'm making people feel old when this goes out.
That's y'all lifetime, not mine. I was out at that time. I was out here.
Yeah. And then Detroit, they're trying to flip the curse and flip the Detroit way. I don't want to say whoever wins this game, I'm obviously going to root for my Commanders, but it's hard not to root for Detroit because they've been through so much for so long. And their last 2 years, you have a 12+ winning game season, NFC Championship game.
You can put that on pause for a little bit. You can put that on pause for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Cheer for them later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm always gonna root for us. Obviously, I'm gonna root for us. But I also know Lions fans are like, no, we got this in the bag. But y'all doing y'all's thing. So I give them some credit. But I'm not gonna glaze them. I'm not gonna make this Krispy Kreme.
I feel you. I'm about to say, no, don't go cheering for them now. Like, no. I'm glad they've had recent success. This is the thing, though. They've been building over the past. Like, this is the 4th year of it, so they've gone through the initial stuff and the hard knocks and jokes, and then it's like, oh crap, these suckers are good now, right? Yeah. Like they're about to enter that Ravens territory, right? They're just consistently good, and you have to deal with them every year, like you know. Yeah.
I wanted to give flowers. Because I always want to give flowers a due. I try to be respectful, but also
I understand
repping Washington always and forever. But with that being said, as we start wrapping things up, Andrew, you know where I'm going with this. Our bread and butter. Mr. Anthony, you have not done this before, so let's get into this. Score predictions. I think I've choked most of these games. Chris hasn't been on in like 7 weeks. Because
he's a little superstitious.
He's superstitious. Every time Chris was on, we lost. Every time he wasn't on, we kept winning. So I'm not giving him away, guys. He's doing this to himself. But I'll start with you. What would you say is going to be the final score of this divisional round playoff game?
Oh man, I mean, if you guys watch these, I'm always realistic with my score predictions. I don't always have us winning, unlike Chris. So I'm gonna be realistic here too. I think it will be a high-scoring game. Okay. I think Jaden's gonna run all over them because they're not great against quarterbacks running. So I think he's gonna be a huge weapon for us. We're gonna score a lot. They're gonna score a lot on our defense. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be 38-33, and I have the Commanders winning.
Ooh.
Moving on to the NFC Championship.
Okay. The same scores we had against the Bengals in week 3.
Oh, is it?
That
I didn't
is. It's the
realize.
same score. Mr. Armstrong, what are you thinking, my friend?
Man, I tell you, it's hard to get a specific score out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, spreads 9.5, and I mean, I see some more of the backing is going to Washington in this instance. It's 55-45, the
Ooh.
percentages. So all that said is Washington by one more point than Detroit. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I could Zane Gonzalez, that gummit. I don't care how many times you got to do what you got to do, my man. Just put that thing through the pipe. All right, that's all you got to do.
I got
JD5
you.
is going to put you in a position. I do think that it could end up being a higher scoring game in the latter half because I think this
Mhm.
team has shown the penchant of being able to withstand the body blows in the first half and then find a way to counter in the second half so they can run up some points then.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said before, usually you only have so many haymakers, and whenever you use them, if you miss, that's it.
Yep.
You done shot that one off, and you can't get it back. All right, so limit the big plays and those shots from Detroit. Score touchdowns, be aggressive on offense, and then you probably find your way to a victory for Washington. But
I
yeah,
like it. I like it. 1 point over the spread. So if it was like a 28. So guys, so think of it like 28, 27, 33, 34, 33. Think of it like that. It's 1 point whatever they score. Um, I
yeah, I
don't
just
have
want them to be. Yeah, Washington wins by
yeah,
one or
there we
more.
go. There we go. I don't have as high of a score as Andrew. Um, because I think this is actually gonna be a relatively close game. Like Mr. Armstrong was saying, the body blows, the catching up in the third and fourth quarter, or if this goes to overtime, we've shown we can do overtime. Um, I'm gonna go a step down. I'm gonna go like a 27-25 type thing. I think this is going to be a what special teams is gonna come up big,
Mhm.
considering Tress and Jack Fox haven't punted a whole lot this season. They're top 5 in least punts this season. I think Tress is first. No, Jack Fox is first. I think Tress is fourth, which
Mm.
is a crazy stat line to think about because Tressway was our. It's like like. What do you think Washington for the past few years? Tressway's in that conversation.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and these two teams I think top and going forward on fourth down.
fourth.
So
Mhm.
these Dans don't give a damn. They gonna go
Nope.
for it. So it is. I mean, it's gonna come down to stopping people on fourth down, scoring touchdowns. Because if you're able to score 7, or if you're able to stop somebody in the red zone, right? Steal possessions, it changes your how the
Yeah.
game flows, right? Because now you're like,
Winning time moments.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I just thought about this. We go all the way back to the beginning of training camp because Dan Quinn made a point to say we're going to start with this situational football. We're starting with the situations. They specifically did red zone early on. I think it was a lot because they wanted to save guys' legs coming off of a break to go
Yeah.
into full, doing full speed stuff down the full field can
Hmm.
can hurt you with hamstrings. So they started with situational football. I said this stuff is going to come in handy when it gets late in the season because you've had that many more reps at it. So once again, you talk about situationally. I think this is going to come up in this game. And you said special teams. Jamison Crowder is one of the few vets that has yet to have a moment. He had that one catch against the game against Philly, so he's had one. But watch him to make some plays
Mhm.
against this Lions team.
Yeah.
Love it.
Man, this game never thought I'd see the day. I didn't think it came in so quickly. If one like we saw what CJ Stroud and the Texans did last season. Good on them. Everyone I hear, Stephen A. Smith, Dan Orlovsky, Washington community, national media, this has overtaken that. I keep
Hmm.
hearing, man, JD is better than what RG3 is. And I'm not going to make those comparisons because I hear the RG3 comparisons, I hear the Lamar comparisons, and I
Yeah.
get it. It's out of respect. It's because they're so dynamic, so young in their careers. And you were in this league when RG3 was in his element kind of thing. But Lamar's one of one. But Jaden is special, and 55 college starts help. Unlike Anthony Richardson, who had 12 for my Florida Gators.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't think we would have a rookie quarterback take this team like that. I thought it would take some time, but we need to make sure we continue this momentum. This can't be a 12-5, really good first season, 9-8.
Hey, yes, look, worry about the game on Saturday.
Exactly.
We'll get
Game
in
at a time.
we'll get into next year when it's time for next year. Enjoy this moment right here. Like I said, look, this is gonna be commonplace. This is gonna be commonplace. Get used to this type of feeling, okay? Don't do it the old Redskins way of putting a little lid on top of the boiling pot. Like let that sucker simmer up and boil over, because that's what's going on. Let the success happen. Don't put a lid on top of this thing.
No. I think because we're so used to it, we're expecting it,
but
I'm trying not to.
I'm telling you,
Oh,
like change your viewpoint, change your mindset. You got to get that pessimistic bull s out of here and have a little optimistic vibe with the fact, like, hey, look, the adversity is going to be there. You're going to have the tough points. We've been through all of them all season. Frankly, we've gotten the most exciting football. You've gotten the most money, most bang for your buck. When it comes to minutes played to this team, you've gotten the most action. You ain't turned this game off not a once. Maybe the Carolina game. But outside of that, you were tuned in for every freaking 60 minutes of this thing. Yeah. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
It's different now.
Good. Yeah, it's different. Y'all be good, man.
Man, let's enjoy it. Let's head on to Saturday, prime time, 8 o'clock. I'll be at work, unfortunately. I couldn't get time off. I'm in a new job. So I will be I'll be enjoying fans talking, but I'll make sure to catch up on the second half. But Mr. Armstrong, can't thank you enough for staying on late with us, enjoying this preview, enjoying your insight. It's always great to talk with you. I'm seeing you on Instagram, seeing you and Brian Murphy do what y'all do, and it's great to see not only like us doing it as fans, but seeing former players and just people coming together and be like, no. It's a great time to be a Washington fan.
100%, man. I appreciate you for having me again. Glad to be able to join you. Make sure y'all follow the show and follow the Believe Network as well. And you can like, comment, subscribe on all your favorite streaming platforms, folks. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Hey, guys, let's get out of here. Let's tune into Saturday, 8 o'clock in Detroit, where I'm not paying $1,000 for a ticket. I can't do it. I don't got that bread. I barely make that a week. But let's tune in on Saturday. Let's raise hell in Detroit, guys. And with that being said, let's go out there and y'all stay ballin'. We will see y'all out there.